In ancient Israel, known as the Land of God, the voice of heaven began to resonate on earth. The people of Israel were groaning under the oppression of the Philistines. During this time of relentless conquest and plunder, despair filled the hearts of the people. However, not all hope was lost. God had not abandoned his people. Manoah and his wife had been living for many years without children. Their home was filled with prayer and hope, but the belief that their hope would be realized was fading. One day, while Manoah's wife was praying in the field, she received a response from God. She was told that she would conceive a son who would save Israel. The angel of the Lord granted Manoah's child special abilities. The child would be born as a Nazirite and would not drink wine or other fermented drink from birth to death. He would not touch anything dead, and his hair would never be cut. This signified that he was to be consecrated to God. Manoah's wife, filled with joy and awe, shared the incredible news from the angel with her husband. Manoah, too, was moved and offered a prayer of thanksgiving to God. In due time, as promised by God, a child was born, and they named him Samson. His birth ignited a spark of hope throughout Israel. As Samson grew, his parents conveyed the angel's message about his Nazirite vows. Avoiding wine, not touching the dead, and never cutting his hair were the conditions for his supernatural strength. Samson adhered to these vows from a young age, and his strength grew with time. One day, as a young man, Samson bid farewell to his parents and set out for Timnah. Along the way, he rested under a tree, feeling the peace of the land of Israel. Suddenly, an unexpected event occurred. A lion blocked his path. While an ordinary person would have fled in terror, Samson did not. He stepped back briefly, prayed for strength from God, and confronted the lion. Miraculously, he overpowered the lion with his bare hands. This was his first great test, through which he realized his strength came from God. Eventually, he reached Timnah. The place seemed like a different world compared to Israel. The marketplace was bustling with various goods, and the people were lively. In the town square, Samson spotted an elegant and beautiful woman named Leah, a Philistine. Drawn by her smile, he engaged in a conversation that flowed smoothly. Samson was captivated by Leah's wisdom and grace. Her smile was as bright as the sun, instantly capturing his heart. However, he was shocked to learn that she was a Philistine. Samson confessed that he was a Nazirite with a greater purpose for Israel. Leah listened attentively and understood his words. That night, a deep mutual understanding and respect began to grow between them. Through Leah, Samson learned that the Philistines also desired peace and happiness. Despite their different origins and beliefs, they decided to understand and respect each other's worlds. Samson pledged to strive for peace between Israel and the Philistines, and Leah promised to support his journey. Their profound conversation kindled the flame of love, temporarily making them forget the long-standing enmity between Israel and the Philistines. Samson proposed to Leah, and she accepted. Upon hearing Samson's marriage plans, his father Manoah initially expressed concerns about marrying a Philistine woman but eventually supported his son's decision upon realizing Samson's sincerity. Samson, accompanied by some friends, visited Leah's family for a formal proposal. However, Leah's family strongly opposed the union, given Samson's status as an Israeli hero and a Philistine enemy. They feared that the marriage would escalate tensions. Despite Samson's efforts to explain his quest for understanding and peace, convincing Leah's family was not easy. During the preparations for their wedding, tensions began to arise between Samson and Leah. The long-standing hostility between the Philistines and the Israelites began to affect their relationship, testing their faith and understanding of each other. The Philistines did not want their marriage and used various schemes to drive them apart. Samson realized that his efforts for love and peace were being misunderstood by both sides. Ultimately, Samson and Leah's wedding plans fell apart, and Leah and her family were killed by the Philistines who held a grudge against them. The conflict between the Philistines and the Israelites was too deep, and their love alone was not enough to overcome it. Their failure highlighted the deep divisions between Israel and the Philistines once again. Samson was deeply disheartened. After the failed marriage with Leah, Samson walked a lonely path, deeply pondering his strength and mission. One day, he arrived at a bustling market town on the way to Sork. In the middle of the market square, a woman caught Samson's eye. Her name was Delilah, and she captivated everyone with her beautiful singing. Samson was irresistibly drawn to her and was captivated by her beauty and voice. He gathered the courage to approach Delilah. Delilah had already heard of Samson's strength and fame, and they quickly became close. However, danger loomed over Samson's life. Delilah was secretly in league with the Philistine leaders. The Philistine leaders had ordered Delilah to discover the secret of Samson's strength. They were searching for a way to overpower Samson, and Delilah was the perfect tool to achieve their goal. Every night, Delilah worked to earn Samson's trust. She seduced him with words of love, trying to uncover the secret of his strength. Initially, Samson kept his secret, but Delilah threatened to leave him whenever he held back. She skillfully manipulated him using her charm and seduction. Each night, she carefully extracted stories about the source of his strength. Samson, unknowingly, began to open his heart to her during their conversations. Eventually, Samson revealed to Delilah that the secret of his strength lay in his Nazirite vow, particularly in never cutting his hair. Delilah immediately conveyed this information to the Philistine leaders. Her betrayal was now complete. On the appointed night, while Samson was in a deep sleep, Delilah summoned the Philistines to cut his hair. When Samson awoke, he realized his strength had vanished. He was no longer the mighty warrior he once was. With his weakness exposed, the Philistines easily captured him. To ensure he could never use his strength again, they gouged out his eyes, causing him immense pain. The Philistines went further, making Samson a lifelong blind slave. He was forced to grind grain in a millstone for the rest of his days. The once feared terror of the Philistines became a blind slave, a source of mockery in the darkness. The cold walls of the prison became his new world, and in constant pain and humiliation, Samson reflected on his failure. During the day, he moved heavy stones and ground grain, and at night, he endured the mockery of his enemies. Yet, within him grew a desire for redemption rather than revenge. Samson felt a calling to do something for Israel, even in his suffering. Deep in his heart, he still felt a connection to God. Through his failure and betrayal, he had learned humility. As his life neared its end, Samson prayed to God one last time, asking for his strength to be restored. His faith, which had grown within him, culminated in a fervent prayer. Samson's prayer was earnest, and his heart was sincere. God heard his prayer, and Samson found peace as he prepared for his final mission. When Samson was brought to the Philistine temple, he realized it was his opportunity. Gathering his last strength, he grasped the two pillars. His actions shocked not only himself but everyone around him. Using his immense strength, Samson pushed the pillars, collapsing the temple. In that moment, Samson sacrificed his life to save Israel from Philistine oppression. Under the rubble of the collapsed temple, Samson met his end, forever recorded in the history of Israel and the Philistines. His actions sparked new hope for Israel. The news spread quickly, and all of Israel repeated his name. The news of Samson's sacrifice soon reached his family and comrades. They were engulfed in sorrow but also honored his courage and dedication. After Samson's death, the Israelites erected a monument in his memory, and his name is remembered as a hero of Israel and a symbol of the struggle against the Philistines to this day. Samson was a figure from before 1000 BC, a time when Israel was very weak militarily and economically. The Philistines were a new power that had entered from the sea, producing and skillfully using iron, making them a formidable nation. Israel during this time was a growing nation receiving God's salvation but frequently turned away from God to worship idols. Whenever they abandoned their faith in God and did evil, they were attacked and defeated by surrounding nations. In this period, Samson emerged, showing a connection with God and opposing the powerful Philistines. However, there are opinions that consider Samson the worst judge. They argue that during his time, there were more frequent battles with external forces and he did not ensure peace for Israel. Additionally, some believe that Samson killed many people unnecessarily without just cause, simply because they were enemies. Nevertheless, it is essential to understand Samson's role and the overall context of Israel's situation at the time. Although it is challenging to know exactly what kind of person Samson was due to the ancient nature of the story, we have the Bible. Samson appears in the book of Judges in the Old Testament, one of Israel's judges, with his story dealing with themes of divine gifts, human weaknesses, repentance, and salvation. Samson was chosen by God and granted incredible strength. However, he is not as well known because his strength was often misused due to his personal weaknesses and desires. Despite this, it is clear that among the biblical figures, apart from Jesus, Samson possessed the greatest physical strength and saved Israel from danger. Today, we have adapted the story of Samson from the book of Judges for children to understand easily. If you have time, please read the passages from the book of Judges in the Bible as well.